So good morning, everyone. So to start today, we have with us a few minutes of guided meditation, not really guided. So first the instructions are given and then we'll meditate for a few while according to the instructions. So I'll put the thing on and I hope the voice reaches all of us. We follow that. It's by Jetsunma Tenzin Palmo. She's telling her how to meditate.
The basic idea, what we are trying to do is to develop the ability to be conscious, to be aware. Because so often when we are thinking or feeling or speaking or whatever activities we're undertaking, we are not present. We are just caught up in all our thoughts and we're not even aware we're thinking. So the practice is simply twofold: to gradually allow the background noise of our thoughts to begin to calm down a bit, and at the same time to develop the ability to be aware, to be mindful. Mindful means just to know what's going on when it's going on without commenting on it. So the easiest way is to start with the breath, because we are all breathing. And normally when we're breathing, we are not conscious that we're breathing. So now we are simply going to bring the awareness to the breath, especially the out breath, and then allow it to come back in and then out again, without straining it, without keeping the mind very relaxed, very spacious. And all the thoughts going on in the background, it's like if one were in a room where, say, the television is on, but we are reading a book or working on the computer. So although we are not turning the television off, it's there in the background, but our attention is not on the television. Our attention is on whatever is our task in front of us. So our attention here is on the breath, and the thoughts are going on in the background. We're not trying to stop the thoughts. We're just not giving them any attention. And if we get caught up in the thoughts again, as soon as we recognize that, no problem. We just bring the attention back to the breath. So it's very, very simple. And it's very important not to become tense or tight. Just leave the mind feeling very, very open, spacious, relaxed, but aware. And this is the essence of the practice. Later you go on, giving attention to the thoughts, giving attention to inner phenomena, etc. But the crux of it is the ability to be attentive to what we want to be attentive to. And here that is just very simply the breath. We also can use, I'm not guiding the meditation. This is why I'm telling us now what to do. So even during the day, if we are walking, we can just be aware that we are walking. When we're sitting, we can be aware we're sitting. If we're agitated, we can again bring the focus back to the breath. The breath and the mind are very interconnected. And when the breath is smooth, then the mind also begins to calm down. If we're excited, the breath becomes agitated. If we're fearful, the breath changes. The mind and the breath are very interconnected. They say like the rider and the horse. So as our attention gets more settled, the breath also will begin to get more settled. It's such a simple practice, but the Buddha used it in order to become enlightened. It's a very simple practice, but at the same time, it is a very profound practice. And we shouldn't think it's not important, because if the Buddha used it in order himself as his main meditation practice, I think that shows how deep and significant it really is. And it's so simple for everybody because we're all breathing. So maybe we just sit for 5 minutes and just make the back straight, but not tight. It doesn't matter if one's sitting on the floor, if one's feet, keep the feet so that they're on the floor or on the cushion. Eyes open, eyes closed, doesn't matter. Keep the shoulders relaxed. And then just breathe. And know we're breathing. Let's do it.
So just bringing our attention back to breath again and again, even if we get lost again in thoughts, we see it and bring our attention back to the breath. So the idea is to be able to rest as this awareness. The awareness which is aware of the breathing, aware of the thoughts coming and going, and to be able to slowly prolong the periods where I can rest as awareness. Knowing ourselves as this awareness. Rather than focusing on the content of awareness, which is our dramas and stories in the head or feelings. So ignoring them, as she was saying, like a noise of a TV. We first extend our time clinging to breath, and then we knowingly stay as awareness. So we'll do it for 2 more minutes and then we'll end this. So I have another short teaching with me, around 5 minutes, which I'll play. It's a video, so I'll play this video. And yeah, I hope you can see and also hear when I play. So in this, just a second. Okay. In this one, no, it's okay. So this is Ajahn Amaro, who is a forest monk, and he's, I guess he's a forest monk from Thailand, if I'm not wrong. And he's speaking about Ajahn Chah, who was a great master in this tradition. Also the master of Jack Cornfield, who is a Western Buddhist teacher. So somebody has asked him a question, how would Ajahn Chah, what kind of tools would he give to students, or when they would ask about methods to practice and all that. So that's what he's sharing. It's about 5 minutes long, what we are going to hear.
Pulling rabbits out of his hat. Yeah, he would come up with
so he's sharing that he was a magician and he would just have many, many methods suited for every occasion. That's where he starts from.
Meditation methods, so that he most often taught mindfulness of breathing, often using the mantra Buddho, like Bud on the in-breath, Do on the out-breath. Walking meditation, walking at an ordinary natural pace on a path about 20-25 meters long. he would teach a lot of contemplation, like using reflections on uncertainty. So one very simple method is every time your mind forms a judgment of liking or disliking, approving or disapproving, just to ask yourself, is that so? Is that a sure thing? Or that, like coming here this evening, I was supposed to get here at 5 o'clock for the interview with the Cheongsam. The Bangkok roads dictated differently. So we didn't get here until about 5:40. So are we going to get there in time? Will I get there by 6 o'clock for the Dhamma talk? Mai nè. Is that a sure thing? So a lot of active contemplation, or an even more simple reflection, just to say, so, I'm really happy about this, so, this is a disaster, so, this is exactly what I wanted, so, like, do you really, I can't really believe that she thinks like that, so. And it's extremely simple, but if you apply it, it has a whole life-changing. He would do things like a kind of indoor version or a pocket version of walking meditation. He'd say, take something like a glass, put it down, time it for a minute, and then move it over here. Leave it there for a minute, then move it back. Leave it there for a minute, then move it back. Do that for an hour. And just see what your mind does with that. Like, oh, this is stupid, why am I doing this? This is crazy, Luang Por Chah must be a nutcase. Or maybe this, well, it's just picking up, putting down. What's the problem? Why does my mind make a difficulty out of this? So what your mind does with doubt. A monk who had a lot of anger habits, he gave him a bowl of water. So take a kannam, a dish of cold water, put that in the corner of your kuti and just look at the bowl of cold water as a way of cooling your mind down. Sometimes he would describe some kind of meditation method and they say, oh, Luang Por, how does that work? And he said, I don't know, I just made it up. But you know, give it a try and see what happens. So it really was like a magician. You know, there was just no end of the kind of practices that he could come up with. One really interesting one is like, say if you have a lot of anger, and he say, okay, now make anger your meditation object. Think of something that makes you angry, and then keep your attention on the anger. And when the anger slips away, bring it back. Just like if you're doing mindfulness of breathing, as soon as your attention wanders from the breath, bring it back. So you say, stay angry for an hour. And it's really hard to do. It's you know, because anger only works in kind of short flashes. And he said, by the time you get to the end of the hour, the anger will disappear, at least for a day. So these kind of things, he was amazingly creative. And if you asked a whole list of different people who trained with him, different practices, you'd probably come up with 100 or a couple of hundred that he suggested from one time or another. So there was no Ajahn Chah method. A continuity of mindfulness, you know, paying attention to the flow of your moods and thoughts, was also what he often stressed as he said, if your peace resides in the meditation hall, then you're not going to have much peace, because most of life is not in the meditation hall. So a continuity of mindfulness to watch your moods through the day is the most important thing. And then, you know, if you're confused, make confusion your object. Yeah, if you're angry, make anger your object. Yeah. If you're doubting, make doubt your object. Don't think, oh, I can't meditate because I'm confused. So it's like the ancient method of building. When you try to repair an old house, and there's some kind of beam that sticks halfway across the living room. So if you can't hide it, make a feature of it. There's a big rock in the garden. Okay, just plant some flowers around it. You know, can't get rid of it. Okay, make a feature of it. If what's happening is confusion, okay, let's look at confusion. Let that be what you learn from. So I think that's enough for this evening.
Yeah, so anybody wants to share anything? So we were discussing on this, the part that we heard, and it's very interesting to see that if, as he said, that make anger, if you're angry, make anger your meditation object. And it was almost humorous to see that if anger wants to go away, you don't let it go away, you stay angry, and you see that you can't do it. You can't really stay angry for say 1 hour, or even you cannot just stretch it. And that also tells us the fleeting character of anger, the kind of that the solidity that we give. When we are angry, we become really angry and make it so solid and real. So if we meditate on anger, if I'm feeling anger, and try to again stay angry for one full hour, or as long as I can stretch it, and I will see that I'm not able to stretch it. And that just tells us, it reveals us the fleeting character of anger. And also we feel stupid that, oh my God, we give so much of attention to it while it comes and goes, comes and goes. And to make your life dependent on the dictate whenever the anger is there, it tells you to do something, and we make it so real and solid that if this does not happen, I don't know, world is going to an end. And the other thing also that he shared, ask yourself, so what? That if I lose this bus, so what? And it's amazing to see that we can absolutely survive with many so what's, that, okay, I missed my meeting today morning, the link somehow got changed, we don't know how it happened. And so what? Less people join, okay, we don't do the session, how does it matter? So what? So it also tells us that we make our contentment or inner happiness dependent many a times on so many external things. So it's good to realize that external things will keep on changing, they will not happen our way, that's how it is. And even then we can be okay. So it's very empowering in nature. Yeah.
Yeah, I would want to add something. Like, firstly, the so what part. Like, I think one of the most important things I have learned is the so what. Like to reduce the stakes of happenings, of things, of reactions in my life, because somehow it makes life simpler. Because a lot of times things come in a flow, right? They want to hit me if I let them hit me. But if this something like this, so what comes, it just it feels right. Like it feels that yes, I was about to just, flow in the water and I don't have to. So this everything done from the so what place, not everything, anything. It's just light mostly because it's actually so what. Because one thing that like he talked about anger, like if it's that strong, if it's that serious, why do I let it go so easily? The same person that I'm so angry with, in about maybe a day, 2 day, 10 days, I'll be like, oh, it wasn't that bad. It's like how I see those movements in me, but I don't acknowledge them. That yes, it didn't really matter that time too. It was just that I was getting caught up by something, making it much bigger than it needs to be. So this was beautiful, but I've been trying to practice, this say doubt, confusion that he was saying, and I just want to share a challenge that I see. When I hear something like this, Kyo, make doubt your, like object. Somehow the one in me who wants to pick up, who wants to, who's living in the story, the waters are very muddy. Like I would say that, oh, he was like Ajanamurush. What would he know? My life is so complicated. I'm so entangled. I am so, those loops of thoughts oftentimes want to tell me that no, it's too complicated. I can't even go there. It's too muddy, like I said. But that is also something just needs time. It tries to tell me that don't go there. It's just too dense. Just, if you don't think about it, you'll be light. But, that problem would remain if I don't attend to it. If something is coming to me again and again. So I don't know if I was able to say what I wanted to say, but yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I think I also see here that if, for example, I have a doubt, to make it a meditation object would be just like they do pebble meditation. So how do they do pebble meditation? They have a little round pebble and they keep it in front. Now, when I'm doing the pebble meditation, the pebble should not be a pebble which is given to me by someone, which has a memory associated. Oh, I picked this up from Pondicherry Beach, or picked it up from here. So that's what they specifically share, that the pebble should not be something with which you have an attached memory. So what you were sharing, regarding making doubt your meditation object, I wonder if it is about entering the doubt and entering the story hence. Because if I enter the doubt, I enter the story, and there it is featured, as you said. So I am wondering, because I believe that what they are saying is to give doubt a concrete form, like a pebble. I put it in front of me, here it is, and I try to focus on it without getting lost in the story. So I'm just wondering, when you just shared, whether it is that they want to share, which could very well be.
Yeah, so that's exactly actually what I wanted to say. That's why I felt I didn't say it right. But the story, my story, tries to stop me, is what I just wanted to say. It would tell me that, no, for him it's easy, but your life is, a little bit more here and there. So it's not easy, it's tough. Don't go that route, or it's not applicable on you. So one has to walk through that. That's a natural process. Anything we start new, there's a story in me which doesn't want me to move there, right? Something like that. Sorry.
No, now I get it. Yes. And that's why Tenzin Palmo shared, as I was sharing, that don't use a pebble with which you have a story attached. It's very interesting, because then when you focus on the pebble, you can't be neutral, as you are sharing, that the story won't let you kind of, be detached and focus on it. Yeah, very interesting. Because somebody was sharing with her. So Tenzin Palma was sharing her own pebble meditation. And then somebody shared, look, this is a pebble I have, and I picked it up from somewhere, some beach in Bali or somewhere. And this was a glowing pebble or whatever. And then Tenzin Palma shared that don't use a pebble which has a story attached, so that we can be neutral and just in a detached way focus. So yeah, it makes sense. Yes. And it also tells us that how hard it is for us to detach, because once this is my story, how can I detach from it? That's the challenge I think all of us face. Yeah. As we bring the stakes too high, as you were saying, कि मेरे साथ हुआ था, ये कैसे छोड़ दें? How can we become neutral about it? Yeah. Anyone else? So we were in attending a workshop, and there somebody was sharing something about rest, how to rest, that the present generation does not know how to rest. I found that very incredible, because that's true. And our lives mostly in cities are so busy, one after the another, things are lined up. And also the media, social media is too much nowadays, that we have forgotten how to rest, how to just be. And what we were doing in the starting, the meditation, I think that kind of we can practice through that, how to just be. When I have empty pockets of time, rather than picking something or the other, which is also okay, but also giving myself time to just be, resting as awareness, resting with the breathing. I think that is very, very strengthening in nature, and also energizing, because we are not, usually we are so lost in thoughts that if I rest for 5 minutes, I'll be lost in thoughts. That's what we do. Think about something that happened in the morning, or what is supposed to happen in the afternoon. But if I rest, can I try just resting, which is resting as awareness, and not resting in my thoughts or feelings or moods or whatever. And why will I be able to do that? Because now I see the fleeting character of thoughts and feelings and sensations and ideas and opinions. They just come and go, they just come and go. So there is no solidity in them. I don't have to give them so much of importance that I give them usually. And when we rest as awareness, we are resting as our true self. And that's why we feel energized and re-empowered, one can say. And to also do it when the happy times are there, when okay times are there, because when the difficult times come, then suddenly I'll not be able to do it. Kabir says this, sukh mein sumiran na kiya, dukh mein karte yaad, kahe Kabir ta das ki kaun sune faryad. So in dukh, if I suddenly, dukh is a challenge where overwhelming something is happening, there I'll not be suddenly able to stay with breath and be awareness. So if I'm practicing continuously, that's why we talk about daily practice, then there are higher chances than in an overwhelming situation, I'm able to deal with it with a right attitude. So we can do another short 5 or 10 minutes meditation if there is nothing, but if there is something, please unmute and share. Okay, so let's do it. 7:55. We'll for 5 minutes we'll stay with breath, and if we get lost, we'll bring our attention back to breath, and then slowly stretch ourselves to staying as awareness. So as we do it, what happens is that the awareness comes to the foreground. Usually thoughts, feelings, etc. are in the foreground. Now awareness comes in the foreground. I am awareness. And when we are knowingly there as awareness, this is the dimension of the psychic being. What Mother and Sri Aurobindo talk about, that psychic being or the soul consciousness is in the fourth dimension. So this is, we touch the fourth dimension when we stay as awareness. And if we truly want to find our psychic being and who we truly are and live from there, we'll have to do some practice. Last 2 minutes. So let us take this on through our day-to-day living. And whenever we find times to relax and to sit down with ourselves, I think it's a very good idea to relax as awareness, rest as awareness with the breathing, conscious of the breathing, starting from there and then resting as awareness. It really, really re-energizes. Yeah. Yeah, anything anyone wants to share before we end? Okay. So have a good day, everyone. And thank you for joining in today. Have a beautiful day. Thank you. Namaste, Suresh. Thank you.